I'd like to call the September 23rd, 2024 City of Gardner Planning Commission to order. We all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with roll call on my right.
Alan Vonderschmidt, present.
Commissioner Combs, present.
Commissioner Souza, present.
Commissioner Jeanman, present.
Commissioner Mader here.
Commissioner Berg, present.
All right, a quorum is present. Moving on to the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Planning Commission for study. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted upon by one motion with no separate discussion. Separate discussion is desired on an item from either the Planning Commission or the floor. That item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. We have the standing approval of the minutes as written for the meeting on August 26, 2024. Would any member of the commission like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Any member of the public? All right, with that, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mader with a second by Commissioner Sosa. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to the regular agenda. Item number 1, Lone Star Prairie First Plat. Item number 24-302-10, Final Plat, located approximately 700 feet west of the intersection of 175th Street and Osage Street. Staff presentation, please.
Thank you, and good evening, Commissioners.
Evening.
This is item 1, the Lone Star Prairie First Plat. And the subject property is located on the south side of 175th Street, approximately 1,300 feet west of the Gardner Municipal Airport. This phase includes approximately 48 acres. Area being subdivided into buildable lots is approximately 17 acres. The rezoning and preliminary development plan and plat for Lone Star Prairie was approved by the Plan Commission back on December 19th of 2023, and the rezoning ordinance approved by the governing body on January 16th of this year. The first phase of this development includes 66 lots and 4 tracks. And the development will be serviced by the City of Gardner Electric and Sanitary Sewers, and Water District 7 will be providing the water service. The application is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan, and the plat is in compliance with our land development code. The plat is in substantial compliance with the approved preliminary plat, and the plat does not deter any existing or future developments on adjacent lots. Staff recommends the Planning Commission recommend approval of the application 24-306-10, a final plat for Phase 1 of Lone Star Prairie with the conditions in the suggested motion.
Thank you, Bob. Is the applicant present? Would like to make any comments or presentation?
Hello, good evening. My name is Dagan Hahn with Circle H Land Development. Just wanted to say thank you, special thanks to Dave Knopick and Bob Case for all their work up to this point. We're excited to be here in Gardner. I'm looking forward to receiving approval tonight and moving forward with City Council on October 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner discussion, starting on my right. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, sir.
I have a question about the lift station and the sewer paragraph specifically. Just from a point of clarity, so here's my question, maybe it can help clarify everything. So there are tracks that are not part of what we're dealing with tonight. There will be a lift station. It can be moved, and later would be part of the city and some additional excise tax. Could you help me clarify a little bit of that?
I can probably help out with that. So the lift station is going over on the undeveloped portion of this subdivision plat, basically tract D. The reason why it was really not up before you last month is because we went ahead and had them go ahead and add that large tract D in order to create the easements that would be necessary for the lift station to be constructed, and also the electric power to be able to come down off of 175th Street to power up that lift station. So once the lift station is constructed and they bring in the second phase, one of the recommended motions is that they will create a separate tract that will be deeded over to the city utilities department. All those lift stations that we have here in our city are actually on tracks and actually owned by the city and not within easements. But the easements here allow our ability to be able to go in and construct that lift station as part of the benefit district.
Gotcha. So from the very beginning, I'm sorry, the city will continue to own this lift station?
That is correct.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Once the lift station is constructed and been accepted by the inspectors and that's when the city takes over on those items.
That was the only question that I had. Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Sosa?
I actually had the same question when I was reading the suggested motion number 2, and I read, I said, why it's gonna be created, phase 2, so that's one of my questions. Can you go back one slide? Okay, so when you said the application is generally consistent with the comprehensive plan, why the word generally there? I was just kind of, is that how we word? Because meaning generally, meaning that it's not consistent, right? I was just trying to, when I read it, sounded.
Yeah. So in general, that's great. I'll start over. So when we look at the comprehensive plan on something like this development was already approved. And so when you look at the comprehensive plan, it talks about residential development towards the western portions of the city. It may not specifically call out single-family residential with this lot size and things like that. So a lot of times we're using the word generally. It is consistent with the comp plan in the sense of the use that's being proposed, but it's not, the comprehensive plan doesn't really go into the specificity that these documents do. So if we were to say, yes, it's consistent, we don't want to misread that as saying the comprehensive plan is specifically called for 50-foot single-family residential lots.
Okay.
Yeah, and Bob's reminded me too that the comp plan is really in Kansas as a guide. It's not necessarily law per se. It's not adopted as an ordinance of the city. So it is a guide, and part of looking at the comprehensive plan also is there can be statements and things in the plan that might be different, that might be heading towards a different goal or a different value where it isn't quite consistent with everything that's in the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Yeah, thank you. A couple of questions. So, the findings regarding the plugging of the oil wells plugged with concrete. So I assume there's more details to that, and there's like certain health regulations that EPA signed off, because I know, I'll say probably like 8 years ago when I was on the commission, it was kind of the reverse. We didn't want a property owner to be putting oil wells down in a residentially zoned area for future development. So now this is kind of like the reverse, right? And I know we've got these all over town, and that was one of the, big comments was, hey, your house is probably on an old oil well. And one of the houses I lived in town was at the time. So just help me understand for the record, and others, might have this question when they read this, plugged with concrete. Can you give me a little more detail?
Yes, actually, we had the developer provide us with a copy of a letter from the state of Kansas. And you'll have to forgive me, I can't remember which state agency it is, whether it's KDHE or
It might have been.
another agency.
Sure.
They have to sign off on plugging wells.
Okay, perfect. That was the verification I was looking for on that. Figured as much, but just wanted to get some more clarity. And then similar question, clarification on the tract of land. And I just want to just read this out loud so I can understand it. So it needs to be created for the lift station when the second phase of development occurs. If it takes longer than 2 years for the second phase plat approval, then the developer will be required to deed land to the city for the area surrounding said lift station. What's that?
So in case this development only happens for phase one,
Uh-huh.
and phase two never happens, but we've had that happen in the past with like 2008, and who
Sure.
knows what the future holds. It basically ensures that they will need to deed that over to basically the utilities department for the city.
So it would be that entire, because.
No, it would be area around where the lift station is. It would be area enough for them to be able to do, us as a city, to be able to do maintenance on that lift station.
So essentially what's happening tonight, there's the large tract,
Correct.
which we've got in there, and that's really there to accommodate the easements. The easements really only give us the access for running the lines to the lift station, whether they're electrical or the sewer lines going in and out of that lift station. It can remain in that easement temporarily. The intent is when phase two comes in or a later phase comes in, they would create a tract that would be deeded over to us. Ultimately, once that lift station is built and we accept it, the utilities department prefers it's on land that we own, not just in an easement. So that's what they're really trying to address there.
Okay. And there's no concerns, or I assume discussions occurred with Public Works to accommodate the temporary solution? There's no worries about capacity or anything like that? Due diligence has been done?
Yeah, I've had phone conversations with Jeff Lemire, who's utilities manager, and also with the developer too, to make sure that they were comfortable with that condition.
Because it was a little bit of something different, I understand.
Yeah,
but just
and
making sure
again,
all the checks were-
yeah, it's really just a safety measure.
Absolutely. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
No questions.
Go ahead. If I can, before you go.
No, go ahead.
Just one last question. During the public hearing, if I remember correctly, the runoff, and certainly the integrity of the land was important. In the motion that is illustrated here, would number one be where eventually we're gonna see things like retention basins or any of the other suggested runoffs that would be part of any permits? Would that be part of the motion that we would be recommending? Is that a fair statement?
So whenever we review these subdivision plats, some of the reviewing departments, one of them is, of course, Public Works. Their job is to basically take a look at traffic measures and also stormwater. So they have reviewed the stormwater management plan for this development and have approved it. So we entrust those professional engineers to be able to tell us whether or not this development is going to operate the way it should be operating under our code.
Perfect. And that answers. So within the verbiage of motion one, those due diligence measures, like Mr. Mayor was even talking about our code.
Yes, I mean, apart from the plating of the land, there's still public improvement plans that need to be approved. There's a lot of land disturbance. And there's a lot of other issues that go into a development besides just our actions here today.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And can you clarify, we still have a final development plan after this, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that would
Yeah.
include the grading with the detention basin, like to see that stuff, that would be included in that package.
It'll show the approximation of the location and some of the grading, yes. What will really determine it for construction will be the stormwater report that supports how deep that needs to be or how large it has to be. The intent is at this stage, the tracks that have been identified will accommodate the stormwater detention facilities that are necessary for the development. Final development plan, you do give more detailed information, but in general, what's gonna happen is it'll be that final stormwater report that'll help, clarify what's in there or what sizes.
Thank you.
So I'm all set, thank you.
Is there any other discussion or comments from the commission? If not, I will entertain a motion on this item.
Chair Giannaman, I can make that motion. After review of application 24-302-10, final plat for Lone Star Prairie, first plat, and staff report dated September 18, 2024, the Planning Commission approves that application and recommends the governing body accept the dedication of right-of-way and easements, provided the following conditions are met, items 1 through 3 in the staff report.
Second. All right, we have a motion made by Commissioner Mader and a second by Commissioner Sosa. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 6-0. All right, that is the end of our regular agenda for tonight. Staff, any updates or discussion items?
Just one quick item, you all received an email today regarding the potential movement of the Planning Commission meeting in November to November 25th. Just to give you a little background on this, we have a case that's coming in that has to have multiple decisions kind of made before we can consider it at the Planning Commission level. And as we've been laying out the timeline, there's timing issues with some of the publication dates, with the action dates that the council would be involved with ahead of this. So that's why we're looking at that option to go ahead and make that change from the 19th of November, probably to the Monday, the 25th. I'll probably finalize that tomorrow when I talk to the city administrator, but it was an issue that came up with our legal advisor, the city attorney's office, was a little bit concerned because we were advertising something a couple days ahead of a city council action. He didn't seem to be comfortable with that, so we're kind of playing a game of days here, and if we can keep them going, they would get their decisions and everything that they needed by the end of the year, and that's what their target is. So I'll have clarification on that probably tomorrow, so I may send another email to you. I heard from everybody except Commissioner Combs. I don't think I got an email from you today. And Commissioner Cooper, who told me that she was at the hospital tonight with her mom, didn't have her calendar with her, but everybody else seemed to be okay. I think Commissioner Mader, you were the only one on Tuesday was the
Yes.
problem day, but Monday
Right.
seemed like it might
Monday
work
would-
for you. So I will get something to you. If that gets finalized, I will get something to you pretty quickly here so you can get your calendars adjusted, because we'll also have to make adjustments on some of the published elements on our website and things like that. So just be aware that that November meeting may be getting tweaked. So typically we like to avoid the week of Thanksgiving. So this is a little bit of an unusual circumstance. So that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. All right, well, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion to adjourn by Commissioner Berg, second by Commissioner Combs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?